Welcome back, children of grade 8, for our today's English class. Today in this session, we are going to see the supplementary reader from our supplementary book, It So Happened, Chapter 7, the title of the chapter, The Open Window, written by Saki. Children, let's see about the author now. The full name of the author is Hector Hugh Munro, and he was better known by his pen name called Saki. He was a British writer and he was well known for his short story collections. That's all from the author, children. Let's see the characters of our story, The Open Window. The first character of the story is Frompton Nuttall. He is the protagonist of the story. He is the main character of the story. He suffered from nerve problem. He is recommended to the family of Mrs. Sappleton by his sister who met Sappleton in the past. The next character of our story is the antagonist of the story, who is Vera. Vera is the 15-year-old niece of Mrs. Sappleton. She is a girl described as self-possessed. This means that even though she is young, she still has good control of her actions. The next main character of the story is Mrs. Sappleton. Here in this story, Frompton Nuttall is a man who visits the lady Mrs. Sappleton and her family in the country in order to get some rest. And some other minor characters are there. The first one is Mrs. Macpherson's husband. His name is not mentioned in the story. And the second characters are Mrs. Macpherson's brother. Two brothers are there. The youngest brother name is Ronnie, that was mentioned in the story, and the elder brother name, it is not mentioned in the story, children. So that's all from the characters of this story, The Open Window. So children, as usual, before getting into the story, let's see a video of the story, The Open Window.
The Open Window. "My aunt will be down presently, Mr. Nuttall," said a very self-possessed young lady of 15. "In the meantime, you must try and put up with me." Frompton Nuttall endeavoured to say something which should duly flatter the niece of the moment without unduly discounting the aunt that was to come. Privately, he doubted more than ever whether these formal visits of a succession of total strangers would do much towards helping the nerve cure which he was supposed to be undergoing. "I know how it will be," his sister had said when he was preparing to migrate to this rural retreat. "You will bury yourself down there and not speak to a living soul, and your nerves will be worse than ever from mopping. I shall just give you letters of introduction to all the people I know there. Some of them, as far as I can remember, were quite nice." Frompton wondered whether Mrs. Sappleton, the lady to whom he was presenting one of the letters of introduction, came into the nice division. "Do you know many of the people round here?" asked the niece, when she judged that they had had sufficient silent communion.
"Hardly a soul,"
said Frompton.
"My sister was staying here some 4 years ago, and she gave me letters of introduction to some of the people here."
He made the last statement in a tone of distinct regret. "Then you know practically nothing about my aunt?" pursued the self-possessed young lady.
"Only her name and address,"
admitted the caller. He was wondering whether Mrs. Sappleton was in the married or widowed state. An undefinable something about the room seemed to suggest masculine habitation. "Her great tragedy happened just 3 years ago," said the child. "That would be since your sister's time."
"A tragedy?"
asked Frompton. Somehow, in this restful country, spot tragedies seemed out of place. "You may wonder why we keep that window wide open on an October afternoon," said the niece, indicating a large French window that opened onto a lawn.
It is quite warm for the time of the year.
Said Frampton.
But has that window got anything to do with the tragedy?
Out through that window 3 years ago to a day, her husband and her 2 young brothers went off for their day's shooting. They never came back. In crossing the moor to their favorite shooting ground, they were all 3 engulfed in a treacherous piece of bog. It had been that dreadful wet summer, you know, and places that were safe in other years gave way suddenly without warning. Their bodies were never recovered. That was the dreadful part of it. Here the child's voice lost its self-possessed note and became falteringly human. Poor aunt always thinks that they will come back someday. They and the little brown spaniel that was lost with them, and walk in at that window just as they used to do. That is why the window is kept open every evening till it is quite dusk. Poor dear aunt, she has often told me how they went out, her husband with his white waterproof coat over his arm, and Ronnie, her youngest brother, singing "Bertie, why do you bound?" as he always did to tease her, because she said it got on her nerves. Do you know, sometimes on still, quiet evenings like this, I almost get a creepy feeling that they will all walk in through that window. She broke off with a little shudder. It was a relief to Frampton when the aunt bustled into the room with a whirl of apologies for being late in making her appearance. "I hope Vera has been amusing you," she said.
She has been very interesting,
said Frampton. "I hope you don't mind the open window," said Mrs. Sampleton briskly. "My husband and brothers will be home directly from shooting, and they always come in this way. They have been out for snipe in the marshes today, so they'll make a fine mess over my poor carpets. So like you men folk, isn't it?" She rattled on cheerfully about the shooting and the scarcity of birds and the prospect for duck in the winter. To Frampton, it was all purely horrible. He made a desperate but only partially successful effort to turn the talk onto a less ghastly topic. He was conscious that his hostess was giving him only a fragment of her attention, and her eyes were constantly straying past him to the open window and the lawn beyond. It was certainly an unfortunate coincidence that he should have paid his visit on this tragic anniversary.
The doctors agree in ordering me complete rest, an absence of mental excitement, and avoidance of anything in the nature of violent physical exercise,
announced Frampton, who labored under the tolerably widespread delusion that total strangers and chance acquaintances are hungry for the least detail of one's ailments and infirmities, their cause and cure.
On the matter of diet, they are not so much in agreement,
he continued. "No?" said Mrs. Sampleton in a voice which only replaced a yawn at the last moment. Then she suddenly brightened into alert attention, but not to what Frampton was saying. "Here they are at last," she cried, "just in time for tea, and don't they look as if they were muddy up to the eyes?" Frampton shivered slightly and turned towards the niece with a look intended to convey sympathetic comprehension. The child was staring out through the open window with a dazed horror in her eyes. In a chill shock of nameless fear, Frampton swung round in his seat and looked in the same direction. In the deepening twilight, 3 figures were walking across the lawn towards the window. They all carried guns under their arms, and one of them was additionally burdened with a white coat hung over his shoulders. A tired brown spaniel kept close at their heels. Noiselessly, they neared the house, and then a hoarse young voice chanted out of the dusk,
"I say, Bertie, why do you bound?"
Frampton grabbed wildly at his stick and hat. The hall door, the gravel drive, and the front gate were dimly noted stages in his headlong retreat. A cyclist coming along the road had to run into the hedge to avoid imminent collision.
Here we are, my dear,
said the bearer of the white mackintosh coming in through the window.
Who was that who bolted out as we came up?
A most extraordinary man, a Mr. Nuttall, said Mrs. Sampleton. He could only talk about his illness and dashed off without a word of goodbye or apology when you arrived. One would think he had seen a ghost. I expect it was the spaniel, said the niece calmly. He told me he had a horror of dogs. He was once hunted into a cemetery somewhere on the banks of the Ganges by a pack of dogs and had to spend the night in a newly dug grave with the creature snarling and grinning and foaming just above him, enough to make anyone lose their nerve. Romance at short notice was her speciality. Saki.
So that's all from the video, children. I think now you might have know and came to know about the story, The Open Window. So let's read the text now. Children, let's start the story. The supplementary reader, It So Happened. So look at here, chapter 7, the title of the story, The Open Window, written by Saki. Okay, children. So take your textbook, page number 55, The Open Window, from the supplementary reader book, It So Happened. So look at here, children. First, let's see the story of the first part. So see here, Frampton Nuttall. As I told you in the character, protagonist of the story, Frampton Nuttall, has bad nerves. So he had some nerve problem. He retires to the country for cure and calls on a family friend. He retires to the country for cure and calls of a family friend. The lady being busy upstairs, her young niece refers to a family mishap with focus on the open window. So this is the gist of the first part. Let's move on to the story now. Look at the story here. My aunt, I'll read it for you. Keep your fingers and follow me, children. Keep your fingers and follow me. Page number 55, chapter 7, The Open Window. So look at the first paragraph here. My aunt will be down presently, Mr. Nuttall, said a very self-possessed young lady of 15. So here, protagonist, the character Frampton Nuttall, and the age of 15, the small young lady who is none other than Veera. Okay, children. So my aunt will be down presently. So here, Frampton Nuttall, he just came from a city to a countryside, to the countryside. He is a neighbor, so he want to visit the neighborhood house, that is Mrs. Sappleton's house, to introduce himself. So he just entered into Sappleton's house, get introduced by himself, and there he met a young lady who is our Veera, age of 15. Okay. In the meantime, you must try and put up with me. In the meantime, you must try and put up with me. So, in between, so he is telling that his aunt, Mrs. Sappleton, he is there in the upstairs. She is taking rest in the upstairs. So, here, the Veera, the young girl who is receiving Mr. Nuttall to their house, and she is giving some nice hospitality. Frampton Nuttall endeavor. So look at the second paragraph. Frampton Nuttall endeavor to say something which should duly flatter the niece of the moment without unduly discounting the aunt that was to come. Privately, he doubted more than ever whether these formal visits of a succession of total strangers would do much towards helping the nerve cure which he was supposed to be undergoing. So here Just he came from the city to the village for first time. Before him, his own sister, that is Frompton Nuttall's sister, was stayed in before 2 to 3 years. So, sister introduced some people and with their names to Frompton Nuttall to ask him to meet them to get a nice intro. There he can get some help from the neighbors. So this is what the sisters advised and gave the introduction about some people about the village. Frompton Nuttall is just visiting the village for the first time. So everyone are the strangers. The total village are the strangers. So he thought if he met the nearby neighborhood to have a good rapport with the neighborhood, so he just going to the neighbor's house, that is Mrs. Sappleton's house, and he'll just some introduction by himself, and he thought that he will get some help from the neighbors because he had affected with the nerve problem. So this is the expectation of Frompton Nuttall. So that's why he is just going to the neighbor house, that is Mrs. Sappleton's house. There he met the young girl Veera and telling that the aunt Mrs. Sappleton, she is there upstairs. Soon she will reach down. Self-possessed. So what is the meaning for self-possessed here? Calm and confident. So self-possessed means calm and confident, sure of himself. Endured means tired. So Frompton Nuttall was tired to say something that should be duly flutter. So here Frompton Nuttall he was tired also that he travels so long distance. So he doesn't want to talk to Veera. So he want to meet Mrs. Sappleton only. That's what he didn't start to speak with the little girl Veera. And flutter means here which should duly flutter. Flutter means, see here, happy. Make someone happy. She get start with the conversation and Frompton Nuttall in a happy way. Okay, children. So look at the third paragraph. I know how it will be. His sister had said when he was preparing to migrate to this rural retreat. So here he is telling that I know how it will be. My sister, she gave some introduction about the people and about the village, and she was there long back. She was there in the village. You will bury herself down there and not speak to the living soul, and your nerves will be worse than ever from mopping. I shall just give you a letter of introduction. So here the sister is telling that the sister of Nuttall, she is telling that you need to take rest. If you are staying in the city, your condition will be bad. So I shall just give you letters of introduction. So here the sister of Frompton Nuttall, she is writing and giving a letter of introduction to all the people and about the people who are there. Some of them, as far as I can remember, were quite nice. So she is telling about the people of the village, they were very nice. So the sister is telling that I'll give you a letter of introduction about the people, and also I know very well about the village people. They are all good and they are nice. This is the report that was given by the sister about the village where he is going for taking rest due to the nerve problem. So he is just migrating from the rural area to the village area of the nerve problem. He is just going there. So that's all from page number 55, children. Let's move on to the next page. Yes, children, look at the page number 56 here. Frompton wondered whether Mrs. Sappleton, the lady to whom he was presenting one of the letters of introduction, came into the nice division. So Frompton Nuttall, he was happy about meeting Mrs. Sappleton, and he is going to give the letter of introduction to her, and he is going to introduce himself to the lady Mrs. Sappleton. So he was very eagerly waiting for the Sappleton's arrival from the upstairs of the house. So here, look at the next paragraph. Do you know many of the people round here? Asked the niece. So here, the first conversation that was started by Veera, who is just available there with Frompton Nuttall in the ground floor and in the hall. They're going to start talking the conversation that was happened there. So here, Veera is started the question, asked the question to Frompton Nuttall that, do you know many of the people around here? So this was the first question asked by the small girl Veera. When she judged that he had sufficient silent communion. So here, after getting the reply from the man, the Frompton Nuttall, she just judged that he had no sufficient communication and details about the people, and he was the person who is coming there to the village for the first time. Look at the next paragraph. Hardly a soul, said Frompton. So here, the Frompton is replying here. Hardly a soul means here, I know only one person, said Frompton, in the village. My sister was staying here. So he's just telling immediately about his sister who had stayed there in the village back. So my sister is staying here some 4 years ago. So he's just telling about his sister who stayed 4 years ago, and she gave me letter of introduction to some of the people here. And he is also telling that she has given the letter of introduction to some of the people who are staying in this village now. So that was the reply by the Frompton Nuttall here. Look at the next paragraph, children. He made the last statement in a tone of distinct regret. So he just told that in a sad way that he doesn't know anybody, and he brought the letter of introduction from her sister to some of the people available there in the village. So then, you know practically nothing about my aunt, pursed the self-possessed young lady. So here, she is telling that you don't know anything, then you know practically nothing about my aunt. So she is just starting with this query that to Frompton Nuttall that you don't know anything about the aunt, that is Mrs. Sappleton. In a suspense way, she just started her communication with the man Frompton Nuttall. Okay, so only her name and address admitted the caller. He was wonder whether Mrs. Sappleton was in the married or widowed state. He know only the name and address and the letter that was given by the sister. So he just wondered whether Mrs. Sappleton was a married lady or a widowed, anything else about him. An undefinable something about the room seemed to suggest masculine habitation. So here, let's see the meaning for suggest masculine habitat. Means suggest that the room belonged to a man. Veera, she just telling about that room. In this room, you may think that he belonged to a man. Her great tragedy happened just 3 years ago. So here, Veera is just telling the story about Mrs. Sappleton to Mr. Frompton Nuttall. So what she is telling here, her great tragedy happened just 3 years ago. She is telling that 3 years before, the tragedy was happened to Mrs. Sappleton, said the child. That would be since your sister time. I think it can be maybe in your sister time also. I wondered why we keep the window wide open on an October afternoon, said the niece. So she is just asking and telling to Frompton Nuttall that you may wonder, you may shock that why the window is open in this October question, said the niece. Here Veera is telling this, indicating the large French window that open onto a lawn. So it is just a large French open window and it was just towards open towards the lawn. Such a appearance it has. Then look at the next line. Quite warm for the time of the year. It was the quite warm for the time of the year. So to get the warm air. So as it is October month, it is too cool outside. So to get a hot wind, that is hot inside the room, that it may open. It is quite warm for that time of the year, said Frompton. So Frompton is just replying that because to get the warm, you may open the window. This was the reply. But has that window got anything to do with the tragedy? So the next question asked by Frompton, that he is just asking that is there any reason behind this window of the tragedy? He is asking to Veera. So Frompton is asking to Veera. Out through that window, 3 years ago to a day, her husband and her two young brothers went off for their day's shooting. Shooting means hunting. Okay, children? So before 3 years, the incident was happened through this window only, through this open window only. What was the incident? It was the incident that her husband and two of her young brothers went off to their day's hunting through this open window. They never came back. So this was the story that was told by Veera to Frompton Nuttall. What she is telling here, they never came back. So 3 years passed away, still they never came back from the hunting. In crossing the moor means grassland. So in crossing the moor, while they were crossing the moor, the grassland, to their favorite shooting ground, to the favorite hunting place, they were all three engulfed. Engulfed means just captured under in the treacherous piece of bog. Treacherous means dangerous, though it seems safe. Bog means it's a wet, spongy ground. One may sink into it. So it's like a wet sand. If the people get into it, they cannot come back. So it's such a dangerous wet sand, it will just pull the people inside. That is known as bog. Okay, children, what is meant by moor? Moor means it's a grassland. Then treacherous means it's a dangerous. Bog means wet, spongy ground that makes the people sink into it. Okay, if they keep the leg over it, definitely the bog will take them inside, that it will catch them inside and it will just pull it inside the bog, and even it may happen death. So this is the meaning for the word bog. Okay, so it had been that dreadful wet summer. So in that wet summer, and places that were soft in the other years gave way suddenly without warning. So this was happened in the dreadful wet summer. Wet summer, you could have seen that such bog, it is very dangerous too. Bodies were never recovered. So from this bog, from that bog, the bodies means here the dead body of her husband and the two brothers were never recovered. So this was happened 3 years before. That was the dreadful part of it. Dreadful means sadful, sorrowful part of the lady Mrs. Sappleton. Here the child's voice lost its self-possessed note and become falteringly. Faltering means, what is meant by falteringly? Faltering voice means is shaky, hesitant, haltingly. So while she was speaking to the person Frompton Nuttall, the girl's voice was immediately shaken and hesitant, halted immediately. So what was the reason? Let's see from page number 57. So that's all from page number 56, children. So look at here, children. Poor aunt always thinks that they will come back someday, and they and the little brown spaniel that was lost with them, and walk into at window just they used to do. That is why the window kept open every evening till it is quite dusk. Poor dear aunt, she has often told me how they went out, her husband with his white waterproof coat over his arm, and Ronnie, her youngest brother, singing, Bertie, why do you bound? As he always did to tease her, because she said it got on her nerves. Do you know, sometimes one still quiet evenings like this, I almost get a creepy feeling that they will all walk in through that window. So, in this passage, here Vera is telling about the poor aunt, Mrs. Sappleton. She used to think that incident always, and that she used to think that they'll come back one day. So still after 3 years, she just think of that incident, and she'll just think that one day, she used to tell that one day they will definitely come back. So, and she will say that that little brown spaniel means here the dog's name. It was brown in color, small brown spaniel dog also lost with them, and walk into the window just as they used to do. So that's why the window was kept open every evening till it will get dark. Dusk means till the night, dark. Till it will get dark, the windows will kept open. The poor dear aunt, she has often told me how they went out. So this Mrs. Sappleton got depressed because of this tragedy. She got depressed, and she used to tell often that her husband went away with his white waterproof coat on his arms, and Ronnie, the youngest brother, used to sing a song, Bertie, why do you bound? So, just to tease her sister, Mrs. Sappleton, the Ronnie, the youngest brother, used to sing this song often. So, these things, this tragedy affected her nerve, and she just depressed because of the tragedy. Do you know, sometimes I used to get the same thinking, that almost get creepy feeling. So he used to get that same feeling that they all come through that window. They all will one day walk through in that window. So this is the title of the story, The Open Window, and this is the reason it was given the title as Open Window. So this is the main important part of the story, children, about the title Open Window. Why the window is kept open? Because Appleton thought of that incident, and she was depressed, and after 3 years still she is just thinking about that one day soon all his husband, 2 brothers with the little brown spaniel dog also, they'll come back the same window. That's what the window was kept open here. So children, let's move on to the second part of the story, the open window. Here you have the gist. So look at the first point. Mrs. Sappleton comes down at last and inadvertently confirms her niece's story. Fronten tries to acquaint his host with the nature of his ailment. Through the open window, he can see things that worsen his nerve. So this is the gist of the second part, children. Let's read the story here. She broke off with a little shudder. It was a relief to Fronten when Aunt bristled into the room with the will of apologize for being late in making her appearance. I hope Vera has been amusing you, she said. She has been very interesting, said Fronten. I hope you don't mind the open window, said Mrs. Sappleton briskly. My husband and brother will be home directly from shooting, and they also came with this way. They've been out for snip in the marshes today, so they'll make a fine mess over my poor carpets. So they'll make a fine mess over my poor carpets. So, like you, menfolk, isn't it? She rattled cheerfully about the shooting and the scarcity of birds and the prospects for duck in the winter. To Frompton, it was all from the reading, children. Let's see the explanation here. So, immediately while they were talking, Vera and Frompton Nuttall in the hall, suddenly there came the person, the lady, Mrs. Sappleton. So, say sorry to Frompton Nuttall that will become Nate because of the late for making her appearance, because of the makeup and to get ready. So it was become late. Conveyed her sorry to Frompton Nuttall. She told that, I hope Vera may amusing you. Amusing means engaged. Make fun with you, she said. She has been very interesting, said Frompton. So Frompton replied that Vera was very interesting and she was very good. This was replied by Frompton. I hope you don't mind the open window. Immediately after this reply from Frompton, Mrs. Sappleton spoke about the open window that I think it is not a disturbance for you about this open window, said Mrs. Sappleton briskly. So just telling the same thing that my husband and brother will come home directly from shooting. They all come in this way. Just before Sappleton come, the bureau also told about this tragedy only. The same thing Sappleton also conveyed here to Frompton that soon husband and brother will come directly from shooting through this open window only. They've been out snip and the marshes today and they'll make a fine mess over my poor carpets. So when they come, definitely my poor carpets will be dirty, will become dirty. So like you, menfolk. So she's just speaking it funny, in a funny way that all your menfolk will do the same, isn't it? She's asking. She rattled on cheerfully about the shooting and scarcity of bird. Started to speak about the shooting experience and the scarcity of bird during, and it will be plenty in the winter time. The ducks will be available plenty in the winter time. So here Bristol means noisy. Talking Frompton with Vera and Frompton. Suddenly the entry of Mrs. Sappleton in a bristed into the room. Bristed means noisily into the room. Vrill of apologize. Vrill of apologize means many apologize in quick succession. Sorry. Like this. So she is just asking this same way for apologizing her for being late. Next one, snip. Snip means water bird that live in the marshes. So here she is telling that they've been out for snip. Snip means that water bird in the marshes today. Marshes means here, look at the meaning for marshes, that is the river. Rattled on. Rattle means went on. She rattled on cheerfully. She went on cheerfully. And scarcity of bird. Scarcity of bird means acute and shortage of bird and the prospect of duck in the winter. So these are the glossaries that was there in this page, children. That's all from page number 58. Let's move on to page number 59 now. And so look at the page number 59, children. To Frompton, it was all purely horrible. He made a desperate but only partial successful effort to turn the talk onto a less ghastly topic. He was conscious that his hostess was giving him only a fragment of her attention, and her eyes were constantly staring past him onto the open window and the lawn behind him. It was certainly an unfortunate coincidence. That he should have paid his visit on his tragedy anniversary. So here in this paragraph, while the Mrs. Appleton and Frompton Nuttall, they both were discussing and talking about this incident. He was a nerve patient, but still, while he was talking, her eyes automatically, constantly just moving towards the open window and the lawn behind him. Certainly an unfortunate coincidence that, and that was the day, the anniversary for her. So it is the anniversary for her. Anniversary means wedding day for her. So it is a coincidence there. Frompton also available there in that incident, in that anniversary after the 3 years. So after the tragedy, after the 3 years of the tragedy, so that day where Frompton was available there at that house, in that house, it was a day 4th year of anniversary Mrs. Appleton. Okay, children. So next paragraph, the doctors agree in ordering me complete rest. So Mrs. Appleton is telling to Frompton Nuttall that the doctor ordered me to take complete rest. An absence of mental excitement and avoidance of anything in the nature of violent physical exercise, announced Frompton, who labored under the tolerably widespread delusion that total strangers and change acquaintance or for the least detail of the one's element and infirmities, their cause and cure. On the matter of diet, they are not so much in agreement, he continued. In this paragraph, Appleton is telling about her body condition and about the doctor's advice. She was mentally depressed, and even our Frompton Nuttall also, she is also a nerve patient. So she was just, delusion means false impression and belief, and element means related to health, compliance of sickness and weakness. So doctor advised that she has to take rest due to the delusion element and infirmities that was caused due to the tragedy affected her nervous system. So this is the thing that was conveyed in this paragraph. Then in the next paragraph, no, said Mrs. Appleton in a voice which once replaced a yawn at the last moment. Then she was suddenly brightened into the alert attention. So while they were just discussing about this incident, about her body condition, about her problem, suddenly brightened into alert attention. Immediately she just shocked, and she showed her expression in a shocking way, but not to what Frompton was saying. She is not at all listening to Frompton what he is saying. So while Frompton was replying this, and she was talking to Mrs. Appleton, she immediately shouted, "And here they are at last," she cried. "Just in time for tea." So same in the time of tea, they are means they represents her husband and 2 brothers are coming, she cried. Just in the same time for a tea, and don't they look as if they were muddy up to the eyes. So all they are looking in full muddy, they all covered with mud. This was captured by Mrs. Appleton in her eyes. So that's all from this page number 59, children. Let's move on to page number 60. So look at the page number 60 here. Let's continue. Frompton shivered slightly. So while she was talking with him, suddenly Mrs. Appleton stopped talking to him, and she told that, "Here they are," she cried. After seeing all these things, Frompton really shivered. Shivered means shaken, shocked slightly, and turned towards the niece. Niece means here Vera. He turned towards Vera with a look intended to convey sympathy and comprehension. Just to show the sympathy, Nuttall looking at Vera. The child was staring out through the open window with dazed horror in his eyes. Even Vera, the small 15 years young girl, also staring at the open window. Staring means constant look at the open window and dazed horror, looking horror. Horror means shocked, like a ghost, in her eyes. In a chill shock of nameless fear, Frampton swung round in his seat and looked in the same direction. So, after seeing both of these ladies and the girl, small girl, Frampton Nuttall also chill shock of nameless fear, and he also just turned himself and his body and he looked out of the open window towards the same direction where they are seeing. In the deepening twilight, figures were walking across the lawn towards the window. So, in the deepening twilight, three figures were walking across the lawn towards the window. They all carried guns under their arms, and one of them was additionally burdened with the white coat hung over his shoulders. Tired brown spaniel kept close at their heels. Noiselessly they neared the house, and then a hoarse young voice chanted out of the dusk, "I say, Britty, why do you bound?" In the second paragraph, the deepening twilight, it is in the evening time, the three figures were walking towards the lawn, across the lawn towards the window, and they all carrying guns on their arms, and one of them additionally, he is just wearing a coat hang over on the shoulder, and there was a brown spaniel puppy also very close near their heels. Heels means near the foot. Noiselessly, without any noise, they are just nearing to the house. And there was a young chanting. Young chanting means this voice that was chanting, coming out of the dark, that saying, "Britty, why do you bound?" So this was a song usually used to sing by the youngest brother, that is Ronnie. The same song also heard from out of the open window. So this was the situation here. So that's all from the second part, children. Now we have moved on to the third part of the story. So look at the gist given here. What else can Frampton do but beat a hasty retreat? Had he seen a ghost? The niece ghosts have a knack for explaining an uncanny coincidence. So this is the gist that was given for the third part. Let's start this third part here. Frampton grabbed wildly at his stick and hat. The hall door, the gravel drive, and the front gate were dimly noted stages in his headlong retreat. A cyclist coming along the road had to run into the hedge to avoid imminent collision. "Here we are, my dear," said the wearer of the white mackintosh, coming in through the window. "Who was that who bolted out as we came up?" "A most extraordinary man, Mr. Nuttall," said Mrs. Sappleton. "He could only talk about his illness," and dashed off without a word of goodbye or apology when you arrived. You would think he had seen a ghost. So here in this page, you can see that how much Frampton Nuttall got affected because of the nerve problem after seeing the real people who are all coming outside of the lawn towards the open window. So see here, Frampton grabbed wildly at his stick and hat, and the hall door, the gravel drive, and the front gate were dimly noted stages in his headlong retreat. A cyclist coming along the side had to run into the hedge to avoid imminent collision. So, after seeing this battle, he started to run out of the room and the house, where he could see one cyclist coming through along the road, and he's just move towards the cyclist. To avoid the collision, he just avoided the cyclist and ran away from the cyclist. Here we are, my dear, said the bearer of the white mackintosh coming in through the window. Who was that who bolted out as we came up? Ladies, Mrs. Sappleton's husband. He started to speak with her. The extraordinary man, Mr. Nuttall, and said Mrs. Sappleton. He just thought to introduce Mr. Nuttall to her husband. He could only talk about his illness and dashed out without the word. So without saying of goodbye and apology, Nuttall just jumped out away of the door and he just started to run away from the house. That he thought of those people as a ghost. That's all from page number 60, children. This was the last and final passage of the story, children, from page number 61. I expect it was the spaniel. So here, said the niece calmly. So that was spaniel, said the niece Veera calmly. He told me he had a horror of dogs. So after seeing the dogs and the men who are coming from the on towards the door, open window, they were completely muddy. After seeing this incident, Framton Nuttall got severely and he affected with a serious nerve problem. And he just ran away from their house. Veera is telling another story that he told here, Nuttall told to Veera that he had a horror of dogs. He was once hunted. So what story Veera is telling to Mrs. Sappleton here? One more story here. She is narrating to Mrs. Sappleton about Framton Nuttall that once he told, when we were talking, he told that he had a horror of dogs. He was once hunted. Hunted means separated, alone in a cemetery. Cemetery means it's a graveyard where dead people used to bury. It is known as cemetery. Somewhere on the banks by a pack of dogs. So one day when he was in the cemetery, that is in the graveyard, a group of dogs, they just surrounded him near the bank of Gangas and had to spend the night in a newly dug grave with the creatures snarling and grinning and foaming just above him. So he was just escaped and he stayed there for a whole night with the dangerous pack of dogs. So that is the reason he may afraid on seeing the dog spaniel and he ran away like this. So this was the story that was given by Veera about Framton Nuttall here. Enough to make anything lose their nerve. Romance at short notice was her speciality. So at last the main major character, our protagonist, in the climax it was totally changed to the character Veera. She was become a protagonist here. She is the only girl who narrate something horror to Framton Nuttall, and at the same time, at last, after on seeing those people coming towards the open window, she narrated about Framton Nuttall a different story, and finally she concluded with the story of Framton Nuttall to Mrs. Sappleton, that this story came end with this nerve problem, and she told that this is the speciality of Veera. So that's all from the story, The Open Door, written by Saki, that is H.H. Munro.